Hey everybody, Tracy Monty Smith with SE Coaching here. So glad to see you in this next installment of our video series. And today, like I let you know in an earlier post, is a little bit different. It's a little bit longer. It's going to be just over 30 minutes. And what it is, how it's different is that you don't have to listen to just me. I'm actually interviewing a very, very good friend of mine, Greg Bobby. He is a personal coach and trainer here, a health coach and trainer here in Colorado. But the cool thing is that he works virtually with his clients too. So if your New Year's resolution or your goal for 2019 was for better health, I highly, highly recommend that you get in contact with Greg. He'll work virtually with you in helping to set up an exercise program as well as a nutrition program, and depending on whatever goals that you have. And he works with you to reach those goals. Just highly recommend him. He's a ton of fun. We have had a great time during this interview. It's the first interview of its kind that I've done. So this is all a test. So let me know if you enjoy this kind of thing. Let me know if there's a particular topic that you'd like to know more about so I can get interviews set up. This interview, like I said, was one of the first ones I've done. We did it actually in an empty yoga room, so the sound quality, I'm going to be honest and upfront with you about this, isn't super awesome. It's a little echoey. We're sitting in front of a big blank wall, so there's not a lot of visual appeal to the video, and we actually are sitting in plastic lawn chairs while we're recording this video. But I have to tell you, we had a blast. A lot of the stuff that you don't see on the interview, Greg is just a super, super fun person to be around. So again, I highly recommend you reaching out to him if you've even been considering working with a trainer in the past. So I'm not going to waste any more time. We're going to get right to it. Here's my interview with Greg Bobby with Total Symmetry Training. Hey everybody, Tracy Monty Smith here from SE Coaching. I am finally getting to start some of my interview series that I've been telling all of you about, and my first one is my dear friend Greg Bobby.
Thank you.
Greg is a personal trainer here in Fort Collins, Colorado, and I have worked with Greg, not recently, I have to be honest about that, which probably should change that up.
Maybe we'll get her changed.
Might need to change that up. But I brought Greg on to answer any questions that you guys have regarding physical fitness and getting back in shape. And a few weeks ago, I asked you to send me some questions that you have. So we have our handy dandy little list here, and we'll go over these and put Greg on the spot a little bit and have him answer some of your questions. But first of all, Greg, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right. As she said, I'm a personal trainer. I've been personal training in Fort Collins for 24 years now.
You don't look like you're old enough to.
But I am. I am. It's pretty. It's pretty.
I made him comb his hair before he came on.
Yes, I was gonna perm it, but maybe next time. But yeah, so I went to CSU, got my bachelor's in sports medicine, went back and got my master's in exercise physiology. I owned a health club here in Fort Collins for 12 years, sold that 4 years, actually it'll be 5 years in January. Wow, 5 years in January. Just had as many training clients as I did then, and just was kind of getting burnt out on doing both, trying to manage the club and train my clients. So it really helped me to kind of rejuvenate me and get me more excited about training my clients and devoting all my time to them. So it's been a nice transition, and I sleep better at night. Less stress.
Less stress.
No employees.
Too many new employees.
Yes.
Too many irons in the fire.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah. Well, I can't believe it's been almost 5 years.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it goes by fast.
It does go by
It's
fast.
crazy.
It does go by fast. So what have you, so you kind of answered this a little bit, but what have you done in the past? What made you have this passion? What brought you to where you are today?
So interesting question. I actually started off in chemical engineering. So I started off going to school for chemical engineering, dislocated my shoulder, and went through the rehab for that. And so going through that rehab, I was like, man, I've always been interested, I've always exercised and been a real passion of mine. So as I went through that, I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna switch. So I kind of switched to that, and then at the time, the owner of the gym approached me about doing a bodybuilding show. So I did a bodybuilding show, and in the process of that, I learned a lot about that whole process and all the ins and outs of dieting for a show, et cetera, et cetera. And so I decided to kind of start pursuing personal training part-time as I was going to school, and then it just kind of turned into a full-time thing. So, yeah.
Cool.
Just kind of evolved.
So you're self-made man.
Yes, there you go.
Nice.
Yes.
All right, well, you ready to jump into this?
Let's do it.
All right, I have to use my cheaters
Go
because
ahead.
that's what happens when you get old. So this question actually came up from more than one person.
Okay.
That, I haven't exercised for a long time, but I know I should. What tips do you have for me to not only get started, but to keep at it this time?
That is a good question. So, of course, you should exercise. Everybody should. Just going to help you feel better physically, emotionally, mentally, everything. So, one of the things, if you haven't been exercising in a long time and you're just getting back into it, you want to make sure you kind of get at it slowly. Because some people will be like, I'm going from 0 to 100, and it causes the burnout. It's not sustainable.
It hurts.
And it does hurt a little bit,
It
yes.
hurts.
So to kind of make it more manageable and make it so that it's something you can wrap your head around, you want to start off slow. So, getting with the trainer, that's one of the benefits of having a trainer, is they will kind of slow the jets a little bit, make sure you get there faster, quicker, and more effectively. So, but to answer your question as to how do you how to keep at it. So, in order to keep at it, one of the things that really keeps somebody engaged in it is seeing results. So if you're not seeing results, that's when people kind of drop off. Either that, or they went at it crazy, and they're like, man, I'm tired now. I'm more tired than I was before because you're overtraining. So you just want to do it slowly. So 2 times a week can really be of great benefit if you're doing an effective exercise program. It doesn't have to be 5 days a week, an hour a day, or anything like that. So it's really all about making it, efficient time and just getting it done in the shortest amount of time possible, but doing it safely. So if you can see those results keep building on themselves, it's going to make you want to keep going back, and you get excited about it when you start feeling changes, seeing changes, gets you excited, and you'll just kind of stay with it better that way.
So you can really start to see results after only going 2 times a week.
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it depends on, and that would also be dependent on if you are changing your diet around a little bit.
Okay.
So yes.
So that's a whole other topic.
So yes,
right?
you'd have to change your diet around a little bit, of course, too. But in terms of the workouts, so basically the whole purpose of the workout and eating is increasing your metabolism. You can definitely make changes going 2 times a week. You'd want to build upon that, but what I'm saying is, in order for you to keep at it, you'd want to probably start off with maybe 3 times, but 2 times a week would certainly be enough to start seeing some results, and then add that 3rd day in, so you're not going to get burnt out.
So what's really important information for me to bring to you as my trainer, as a woman over 40?
Yes.
Well over 40, that hasn't exercised in a while, and there's some fear around that. I'm afraid I'm going to be sore. I'm afraid that I'm going to faint in front of you. These are real fears for me, actually.
It actually is a fear. I had a client who came to me. Her husband said, my wife wants to come see, but she's extremely nervous, and she was literally, she almost did faint.
Wow.
And then she's like, oh, he's actually a nice guy. So
and
maybe
Greg is a nice guy.
So maybe I can deal with this, and he's not gonna kill me.
But what are some questions that my listeners can take to a prospective trainer to make sure that it's a good fit?
Number 1, okay. So your trainer, he or she should obviously ask you some questions about your health profile. So kind of health history of what's going on with you. For women over 40, you start getting some hormonal issues, and I think it's always a great idea to get a hormone profile so you can really see what's going on. Because it can be pretty frustrating when you think, okay, man, I'm doing everything right, I'm not able to lose weight, what's going on? But if you're really estrogen dominant, it can make it a lot harder for you to lose weight.
That's something I hadn't even thought about.
Oh yeah.
So
awesome. Almost all my female clients that are over 40, I have them do a hormone profile because it's very easy. You can just do a saliva test, and you can find out your estrogen, testosterone, estradiol, DHEA, cortisol. All those hormones are going to kind of affect you, and also mood, but also in your weight loss. So it really impacts it if things are not right.
So is that just something that you Google to find?
You can. You can even order it on Amazon. They even have kits on Amazon.
It's all on Amazon.
Of course, you can get on Amazon. Through my wife, for example, goes to a naturopath, and she
Locally?
Yeah, locally,
Okay.
and she has got tested from her. So,
Okay.
but yeah, you can do it. I've had clients do it just through Amazon, and then you order the kit, and then you send it to the organization. You'll send it to Amazon, but
Well, you never know.
anyway, but maybe in the future, come to you.
That's right.
That's right. But right now, so anyway, but it's very important, and for men too. For men, if you are feeling like you have no energy, mental fogginess, achy joints, low T can contribute to a lot of things. So same with women. I've had women that have had, low testosterone, and it really affects them too. Same as men. So
Great
yeah.
advice. Great
Yeah.
advice. So that's a way to get in and get started. So what about now? How do we maintain that? Because for me, I have a history of, hey, I started, I jump in really hard, I'm really sore usually.
Mhm.
I'm on it for 6 to 8 weeks, and then it just starts to kind of go
Mhm.
slow down. So what are some tips to keep it going?
So to keep it going, like I said, is to number one, you want to have somebody who's there to hold you accountable and make it fun too. So and yes, you're going to be a little bit sore, but you shouldn't be extremely sore. If you're like extremely sore, either your nutrition's lacking or you're doing a little bit too much, and maybe we need to work on your flexibility a little bit more. Because if you're really sore, we really probably need to focus on flexibility and getting that fascia nice and healthy before you go try and really strain the muscles that way. And so
That's great.
yeah,
That's great.
so I mean, a lot of it is keeping up with body work, so doing rolling, really increasing that flexibility and stuff like that. So
Okay.
yeah.
So that leads into one of my questions
Okay.
from one of the divas. What's a good balance between cardio, weights, and yoga, and the benefits of each? And she said, when I do yoga, I don't feel like I worked out. Is that something that you hear pretty frequently, or?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, so you're not going to be. Well, actually, it depends. I mean, if you are really inflexible, you can get pretty sore from yoga, and there's all kinds of different types of yoga. There's I don't know them all very well, but there's vinyasa, and there's different classes. Some of them are flowy, some of them are more hold it position for X amount of time. So yoga, yes, you're not going to feel like you got like a workout as
Like a cardio workout?
Yeah.
Well, sometimes.
It can be kind of, but yeah, it is different. It's going to be different certainly than a cardiovascular or doing something with resistance training. But it's definitely a good thing to add in there because, like I was saying before, if you don't maintain that flexibility, you are going to be more sore and you're going to be more prone to injury. So anything you can do to kind of help that out is going to be a good thing. That being said, it all depends on your goals. If your goal is, I'm trying to go for body shaping and weight loss, then yoga would be a component of it, but it'd be a more minor component just to help keep that flexibility, whereas the cardio and the resistance exercise would be a little bit more important. And cardiovascular, like the school of thought has really changed on it now. So that's why HIIT, high intensity interval training, is so popular right now.
Okay. Tell me more.
Why is that? I'll tell you why. Inquiring minds want to know.
Inquiring
And
minds.
it all has to do with EPOC. What is EPOC? EPOC is excess post-oxygen consumption. So, yes. So, if you are on a bike and you're just pedaling, sitting there reading your magazine, and your heart rate is kind of up and not really, and you sit on there for an hour, well, you may burn 200 calories. But you could also burn that same amount of calories doing 20 minutes of a HIIT interval workout, and your metabolism is going to remain elevated for a longer period of time afterwards. And that's because of the metabolic processes that happen after you get done with that higher intensity workout. So that's why HIIT is such a big thing and why it works. I mean, it really does. You don't have to spend as much time doing something if you're doing it a little bit higher intensity. So,
I love that idea because, as a mom, running the household, starting a new business, all of that, 20 minutes versus 60 minutes, that's a big difference
and
in
it can
my day.
be very effective.
That's
yes.
a really big difference in my day. So if you want more information about that, we're going to tell you how to get a hold of Greg at the end of this interview. So stick around. You cannot leave yet. So were you done with that question?
So maybe not then, huh? So a good balance. Again, it really depends on what your goals are. But you know, in terms of the weights, like I said, when I said 2 days a week, I was talking about initially starting with 2 days of resistance training with a little bit of some, you'd probably want to add in some HIIT intervals along with that on other days.
Okay.
So I was kind of specifically talking about resistance exercise. So maybe I should have made that a little bit more clear. But you could add in just like 1 extra day of a HIIT interval just to kind of keep that metabolism going. And I also, in my resistance exercise workouts, particularly for my female clients, I will do intervals in there anyway. So you're going to keep your metabolism or your heart rate up. You're going to burn more calories during the workouts. And
That's the
post.
part when you feel like you're dying.
Yes, but you know.
But it's all good.
But it's all good. That's right.
That's where we have to be. That's where we have to start out.
That's right.
So, you know, women our age, not your age, women my age and the Diva's age, you know, we hear so much about resistance training and weight training and how that's so necessary around the bone density thing. Is that still the main train of thought? And
definitely, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So you're a big proponent?
Big proponent, yes.
Okay.
Of course.
So if someone doesn't have a trainer, doesn't want to work with a trainer, well, how do they know that they're doing what they should be doing?
That is a good question. Yes, of course. I mean, so now with Instagram and all the different social medias, you have tons of different trainers online. And yes, you can look at some other stuff, and some have some really good stuff. So, you know, that's one way to get information. There's, of course, Google. You can Google different. Yes, you can Google different workouts and stuff. And you know, so you can get a lot. You can do a lot of your own research, but it's not specialized just for you. So that's why it's kind of useful to have somebody who you can come and talk to, who's an expert, who knows you, and who you can, you know, describe your situation, because everyone's a little bit different in terms of what they have going on hormonally, work, their sleep habits, everything that kind of comes into play into how you feel, how you're going to recover, and all that good stuff. So it's useful to have somebody to kind of bounce it off of. But if you don't, there's definitely resources online that you can. So
what I'm hearing you say is we can do it on our own, but we're more likely to be successful if we don't do it on our own.
That is correct.
That is correct.
10-4.
And that's the
10-4.
takeaway.
Oh yes.
Oh yes. Okay, so it would help if I could see what I'm reading. I gained weight after my child was born and then I lost it. I struggle with the excess around my waist now as well as weak abs. Is there anything I can do?
Nope, just forget about it. No, of course you can, of course. So that's good. Yeah, that's good that you lost the weight after the baby. So that's awesome.
Yes, kudos.
Yes, I trained one client up until a week before she gave birth. So she was pretty big at that time. I was like, I'm pretty sure this is the last time I'm going to see you until after the baby. But anyway, so exercising, if you exercise during pregnancy, it definitely increases, or shortens, I should say, the amount of time that it takes to get back into shape. I mean, by a big degree. But, so you lost the weight, you struggle with excess around your waist. So, you know, as you go through pregnancy, that does cause some stretching of the skin. Depending on if you have a C-section, I don't know, a C-section definitely will affect the abs. My wife had a C-section, so, but she still has you still can work that core and get a strong core even after being pregnant. It kind of does stretch the linea alba and some of the ab muscles kind of apart. So, but you can do definitely exercises that are going to help strengthen that. So, I'd be happy to demonstrate some exercises sometime. But planks are good.
Okay, I have to.
Yep.
We might have to edit that out. Okay.
Planks are good for strengthening your core. Regular crunches are okay, but I would do more stuff during your exercise program of exercise that kind of stress your core more. There's a lot of things you can do in a plank position. A lot of things you can do on a Bosu ball, or different ways to kind of stress your core that not just your normal crunches. So it's better to kind of throw different things in there to kind of strengthen them up.
So having been a C-section mom, and also struggling with excess skin, because I was taking your take with both of my kids. So is that something that ever can go away, or? If
it's an elasticity issue, there's not much you're gonna be able to do exercise-wise. I mean, you can get rid of the fat that is below that, but which you get to a certain point, it's just skin. Yeah, exercise can only do so much.
Okay.
So, yeah, unfortunately, that's kind of the way it is.
That was the
It's a
bad
bummer.
news.
It's a bummer. Another reason why you could be holding so the waist, depending on how you carry your fat, for guys in particular, they usually carry more around the midsection. So that's kind of one of the last places to go. So, but for women, it's usually a little bit different. So, but
As in it's not the last place to go?
as in it's not. Yeah, usually women.
Or it doesn't accumulate there?
It really just depends on your body type. It really
Okay.
does. I've had women that carry more in the lower body region, and really have, you look at from the waist up and be like, looks like almost a different person in a way, because the fat distribution does not mesh. But
Gotcha.
so anyway, but there's a lot of different reasons why you could be holding on to excess around the waist. It could be that that's where it likes to hang out, so that's one of the last places it's going to kind of go. Could be that you're stressed and you have high cortisol levels. It could be.
And that's a whole nother topic.
It is.
As well as the nutritional part of it.
And I'm getting proper sleep and stuff. So yeah.
Sleep.
Sleep,
I like that.
very important. Sleep.
I have heard so much today, people telling me different podcasts and everything about the importance of sleep. So I'm going to go home and make sure I sleep tonight.
Yes.
Great.
Sleep good.
So that one just worked out really well,
yes.
didn't it? All right, so the next question. When I don't sleep well at night and finally fall asleep a few hours before I plan to get up to work out, is it better to get the sleep, so in other words, turn off the alarm, or get up with the alarm and go still do that planned workout?
Yes, and that is a good question. I would say it would kind of depend on the situation. Is this not a normal occurrence for you? So you slept great, the 3 nights before this, and for whatever reason this night you just weren't able to sleep good. In that case, I'd say it probably wouldn't hurt you to get up and get the workout in. It's probably going to help you sleep better the next night. If it's a regular occurrence, we kind of got to look and see what is that underlying cause for that, because it may be that you have high cortisol levels, your adrenals are being taxed, and getting up and not getting the sleep that you really need to get and going and do a workout to strain those adrenal system a little bit worse is not really going to be a benefit. So it kind of depends on, what are the underlying causes of this? Is it a regular thing? So it's not a complete, total answer on yes or no, but it kind of depends on the situation. Yeah, it really does. Yeah.
What I love about talking to you and working with you, Greg, is that you look at the whole picture. You're not looking at just losing 20 pounds or 50 pounds. You're looking at the hormone levels and the adrenals and what could possibly be slowing all this down, and that it's not always just a mindset.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
But so it's not always just about no pain, no gain kind of thing. So.
That is right. It's not always.
Although it's a big part of it, right?
It is to a certain degree. Yes.
The whole motivation part. Motivation part. But again, for another time for another schedule or another interview. So.
Boom.
One more. We'll do one more.
Yeah.
I hate the word exercise.
Whoa,
Is there
whoa,
another?
That's a kind of strong word there.
Yes, hate.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Hate is a strong word, but we're going to use that one.
Don't.
Is there another way to get the same benefits?
Ooh, that is a tough one, isn't it? That is a tough one. Okay, well, I'm going to say the answer is
I
no.
hate to sweat, because this is actually my question. It's not that I hate exercise, but I hate to sweat.
Okay. Well, so yeah, obviously there's different ways to structure a workout, right? So if you are the kind that's like, I do not like to sweat, I don't like to be nice and hot and all that good stuff, you can slow it down. So I mean, in terms of the benefits of exercise, like we were talking about bone density, resistance training, definitely, you do not have to be sitting there pouring sweat and have your heart rate elevated the whole time. So
for an hour on the bike, right? Like we talked about.
Exactly, yeah. So I mean, in terms of resistance exercise, like doing the weights, if you kind of slow it down a little bit, just take time in between sets, you're still going to get the benefit of increasing that bone density, increasing your strength. The only thing you're not going to benefit from as much is burning maybe as many calories during the workouts. You're not doing like an interval type training, but you're still going to be able to see the results of, if you're watching your food intake, if you're still going to help increase your metabolism in the long run because you're increasing your lean mass. So,
and maybe I'll learn to like to sweat. because of the results, right?
Exactly,
So as
yeah.
I'm seeing the results and it starts to make sense, you know, maybe sweat won't be a 4-letter word.
It may not. You may grow to love it.
It's not a 4-letter.
You don't know.
Yeah.
You never know.
I might.
Yeah, I
might.
mean, it's interesting because I have been, you know, working with clients for 24 years. So I've had clients that ain't exactly that. I have one client in particular that was like, I hate to exercise. And I mean, she really did, and she'd come in, but she really would, once she got there, she really gave it her all. She didn't like it. And I mean, she'd even say, I don't really like it. I like the way it makes you feel afterwards, but I don't really like the doing of it. But
does anybody, except for you, does anybody?
Actually, there's a lot of people that do that. They gotta get that endorphin rush. And
Well,
yeah.
yes.
And it kind
But
of,
that's still
I
an
think
after.
yeah. I think it kind of helps clear the mind and give you kind of a mind dump, if you will. You know, kind of take that. Most of my clients, when they get there, I'm like, okay, we're taking all that negativity or whatever you've had during the day. We're gonna dump it over here. We're just gonna focus on this. You know, try and have at least an hour or whatever is during the day where you can just kind of empty the mind.
And we're going to be present and in the moment,
Exactly.
which we talk about all the time, ladies. We talk about being present and in the moment, not worrying about what happened at work, not worrying about what's going to happen at work or what you're going to make for dinner. Take this as your time.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very special time for you, and it's part of your self-care, which is so important, especially coming either freshly off a divorce or 20 years later off of a divorce.
Oh, yeah.
You still have to take care of yourself.
Definitely.
And that being present and being with your trainer and making this time solely for you is huge.
Big time, yeah.
Is huge.
Yeah.
So
Take the power back.
Take the power back.
That's right.
Go Divas, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you have going in the future?
What do I have going in the future?
What's the future for group?
Well, let me tell you, who knows? In the future, I'm thinking I might dabble and get back into a health club situation, possibly. So who knows? I may get into another health club. For right now, I'm really enjoying what I'm doing. So I think in the future, one thing I'd probably work towards is getting my own app. Is kind of something I've been toying around with. So that, and just continuing helping people and making people enrich their lives.
So most of your work now is personal FaceTime, right?
Yeah.
But we talked about before we started the interview, we started talking about doing some virtual stuff. So how does that work? You said you have a couple of clients that you work with virtually. So can you share with the Divas what that looks like?
Yeah. So typically what I'll have them do is describe, okay, where is it that you're going to be working out? What are your goals? I'll typically have them do a 5-day diet record so we can kind of get an idea of how many calories you're taking in, what are those macro breakdowns, how I can kind of help you reach your goals that way, any supplements you're taking. We talked about the hormone thing. If that is needed, I'll kind of want them to maybe do that, depending on how they're feeling. So anyway, and then depending on, again, what are your goals, I'm going to design something that's based on your goals and help get you there faster, quicker, safer. That good stuff. So.
And then are they checking in with you on a regular basis?
Yeah, and then I would be checking in with you on a weekly basis. We'll change it around when it comes to eating, when it comes to your workouts, typically every 4 weeks, but depends on kind of how it's going. If everything's going really good, we might stick you with the same training program for maybe 8 weeks. So, or maybe even longer. Usually not, but usually every 8 weeks at least, I'm for sure going to change it around. And eating, we're going to evaluate every 2 to 4 weeks. So it depends on, again, how that's going.
So you can help with nutrition as well. We didn't go into that mainly because I don't want this to be like an hour-long interview. So so that's another topic that we'll tap and talk about nutrition. So that sounds really cool, and especially if you want to work with Greg because his credentials are off the charts. You've been a competitive bodybuilder, right?
Yes.
He's actually the model on the cover of a romance novel of a friend of mine,
yes,
right?
That did happen,
so
yes.
that did happen, and it was fun.
That was fun, yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah.
So if you do want to work with Greg, how can people get a hold of you?
So probably the easiest way would just be email. And I guess you could maybe show it at the
I
end.
will share
and my
that,
phone number. And my phone number too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The phone number.
Yes.
Phone number, ladies.
Oh yes.
Did you ask your wife that part yet?
She's good. She's good. It's no big deal.
Okay.
She's real cool.
She is. All right. So why don't you go ahead and say your email address here real quick?
It is totalsymmetry@gmail.com.
totalsymmetry@gmail.com.
You got it.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sitting
Thank you
down
for
with us.
having me.
And ladies, thank you so much for turning your questions in. So this is kind of the format of how we're going to be doing these interviews in the future. So when I let you know that I have an interview coming up and ask you if you have questions, this is what it's going to entail. We may not be sitting in our beautiful lawn chairs.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
In our empty yoga room with our blank wall, but this worked out really well.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited, and so thank you very much.
All right, thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Ladies, we'll see you again next week, and like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to get a hold of Greg. He has a lot of answers to any of those questions that you might have.
And good luck to you on your fitness journey. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was a good one. That was a good
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Till next week. See ya. I hope you enjoyed this interview with Greg Bobby as much as I enjoyed doing it with him. Please remember to reach out to him via email at totalsymmetry@gmail.com to schedule your virtual training program with him. Also, make sure you take the time to download his successful tips to starting a exercise program. You can do that here at this link that is in the show notes. Thank you very much. Have a fantastic day. Look forward to hearing from you and look forward to visiting with you again in our next video series. Thank you and goodbye.